Hello everyone, welcome back. And as you can see, it is May 1st and we still don't really have any contracts other than the baling ones, so I'm going to write off the whole year of arable contracts. But what we're about to do is change this red truck over, get some livestock netting onto it, and then we're going to actually sell our pigs, as I said, and you'll notice that we can access that space outside the workshop from inside, almost, if that makes sense. It is a little weird, but not intentional, but it works out pretty well, because we got the white truck in at the moment. That's being serviced, so that's maintenance completed at 8:51. I can't remember whether that's today or tomorrow. I presume today, because it wasn't too badly damaged. Right, so we've got, it's very hard to see, but you see we've got netting on the sides now, and that kind of denotes the livestock mode of this. But this little space here just behind the workbench we can actually access from outside, so completely accidental, but a really nice feature I like. Okay. And now, I know in the last episode we said that we'd just move these pigs over basically, and that's what we do in most years. But as part of our radical downsizing, we're going to sell them all basically, and they're selling at nearly $600 each. The truck can fit 6, so that works out perfectly for us. Technically I think the truck can fit 8, but as you can see there's only really room for 6, and the other ones, the models, are scaled down really tiny, so I only take 6 to be realistic. We've got the white there, and we've got the 8910 there that we got that flex planter all hooked up, so we'll be ready to plant some beans today as well after we get back from selling these. And now we will record us taking this load of pigs down. Normally we just skip over it because we do, I mean, if you can imagine 6 loads at a time, and we were selling upwards of 90, close to 100 pigs per season really. So we got these 2 upper fields left to sow. The other ones, the maize has come through, so that's all going well, and we might have the bottom one that we didn't plough last year might need weeding, so we can get the row crop cultivator onto that one. That should be good. So we did end up selling that bale to the livestock place at the end, and they just paid whatever for it because it wasn't really any good. And we sold that produce, and then we've been working back at the forest the last couple of days, just getting some more money in. So again, it's ticked over a month, so our 13 grand loan payment's gone out, but our finances are actually looking really solid. So I'm really trying my best to hold off on all the used vehicles and everything until we should get the opportunity to buy some land at the end of the year, is my hope. And downsizing the pigs will really help with that. So this is the first step of that journey that I didn't really want to take, but needs must. And we would have also really benefited from a bigger livestock trailer if we're going to take loads anyway, but just this bunch, that's fine. Okay, so $3,500, that's not too shabby at all. Puts us at nearly 50k, which is very unheard of for me. And I don't know, our loan duration is still pretty high, so I'm not sure if we should pay some of that off, or whether we'd be better putting the money into land. I'm tempted just to keep everything we have for the time being. Just making sure that pickup doesn't... Oh, actually, we'll go in and get some gas because we're half full and it's only here. We are. Okay. So now we're all fueled up, we'll head back to the farm and then we'll get on planting some beans. And this will be the first time I've used this planter. We did, in between the last episode, we did a lot of texture editing and stuff. Set the row spacing correctly for 30-inch corn and 30 inches. I think that's standard sort of North American row crop spacing. But then actually the planter, I think that worked out at 18-inch or something. So it's narrow beans, but it's not quite the real narrow 15-inch beans that you can get sometimes. So it's a bit unusual, but we've got it all set correctly. And we'll just have to go back in and edit the game files if we ever decide to do wide row beans, basically. But yeah, I'm excited to see how the case and everything handle the planter. Right, now you can see our bales are doing well. We'll get this backed just up on the drive here. And now let's go see what needs doing to get this ready for planting. Okay, so all the hoppers are empty, so we'll fill those up from these small bags we got instead of that pro box for the corn. Okay, so they're not quite filled up actually, so that took way more than I expected. So we'll just nip over and get a second pallet. And then I did notice the case also needed diesel, so we'll do that from our yard tank. Got lots of pallets here as well. Lots of little jobs building up. But again, the sort of stuff that can be done off camera or it gets really repetitive. There we are. So actually we've been left with loads of corn seed over. And we'll just have to see how the beans go. But I don't think we'll run out this year. And our hopes of doing any contracting planting have all been dashed by my messing around with the game. Perfect. Okay, let's drive this just across to the entrance to the yard and we'll get it all filled up. Okay, I think we're nearing full now, and that took way longer than I expected. I forgot how big a tank this has compared to all our other tractors, like this little thing over here that have about 30 gallons. I think this has got nearly, yeah, there we go, 117 gallon fuel tank, so that should last us a while, but it's not cheap to fill up. So while we're pointing this way anyway, we might as well get out to the top field and do that first. And this tractor doesn't have any GPS. The white's the only one that does, so we'll see how those row markers serve us. Doing everything with the 4-row and the row markers work quite well. Also a bit wide for these bridges, so I really hope that car has the sense to wait. Oh God. Yeah, this AI traffic is completely stupid. Look at that. So yeah, maybe this is best on a trailer or something, but I'm not sure what one we'd use it on is the trouble. Anyway, we're here. Best to stick to the back roads with this, maybe. So I think we'll do 2 headlands. I think that sounds fair. We'll drop it down, turn it on, and something I'm slightly worried about is how the fields sort of undulate. I wonder whether we'll be missing any bits, but hopefully not. And I did just do a double take thinking this field was actually seeded already, but I think it's just the cultivated texture. Let's see how those row markers go. That's a horrific texture. Not sure what's going on there. We'll see whether we stick with it or not. No, right, okay, and that looks so horrible. So until we find out what's going on there, I think we'll just go without those markers. So we'll just have to get used to lining our corners up in cab. Which we should be able to do once we're on the straights. And I find these linkage mounted things a bit harder to operate than all the trailed stuff. But not too bad. It's just a different style of how you turn at the end of each row. Now again, like the white, the only thing I dislike about, well, power shifts in farming simulators, manual transmission are a bit weird anyway, because you initially have to go up through all the gears, but at least it saves your position in the forward gears, but it doesn't save it in reverse, so you end up starting from low every time you go into reverse, annoyingly. But that's just the way it is. Just a slight grievance rather than anything too bad. And if you get used, you can just tap it a couple times as you hit the shuttle anyway. And on this next straight up here, we'll try to get a decent distance from the first pass, and then we'll be able to do the rest in cab. Will probably be easiest. Well, maybe not easiest, but it'll allow us to do the rest in cab. So that looks about right for me to minimise overlap while still covering everything. So we go in, and I don't know how easy it is to show you where I'm looking, but you see there on the windscreen where that little chin panel of glass joins to the main windscreen. I'm looking at that and the corner of the A-pillar basically, and that's a decent enough reference. So we'll test that for a bit and then try to see if we're going wrong. And I think that's about the same reference point I use for the cultivator as well, when from time to time I use it on this. So it could be that. And if that's the case, it's a really nice easy reference point, so I'm kind of glad we don't need to fiddle around with all the row markers because they are a bit annoying. It's really hard to tell the difference in ground between the seeded and cultivated textures though, isn't it? And I think we are missing aligned because of that. Nothing too bad. It'll just be one row out. Okay, here we've done our headland, so we're going over and back now. I don't want to drive into all the brush really. Okay, let's try that. And with that it's so hard to know. We're probably overlapping by a row, so we should maybe come out just ever so slightly. No, I don't want to go too deep into the ditch if I can avoid it. Maybe we should have done another headland again. Okay, we're just coming up to the last couple of passes here, and yeah, I think one more headland would have just allowed us to turn around without needing to reverse, which would have been handy. So I'll bear that in mind for the next field. Now I don't quite know what the working width of this is in feet for combining, but I know that for combining beans I think it's less important than getting your rows matched up to your planter width for the corn head, so it shouldn't be too much of a bother. And here we go. It's quite a nice setup. It's good to use the 8910 properly because it's been stuck on feeding duty the entire winter, and then really we haven't used it an awful lot since. Just the lime and fertiliser really is its other job, so now I guess we can officially call it a planter tractor. And maybe now, especially as these row markers are so awful, maybe we'll start thinking about investing in GPS for it. So now the only tractor I really need to see used is the Steiger. So we're definitely going to buy a mulch tiller for that. It's just this blind spot here in Farming Simulator. There we go. And there's one car coming. I'm just going to go right in the middle of the road, and if he gets here before us, he's going to wait or go back. I don't care. There we go. So, last field. Unless we choose to buy more. I'm still not sure about that, because we've got enough money that we could buy a small field now and still get it planted for the next season. Or, struggling in that gear. Or alternatively, what we could do is keep our money and then buy a bigger field, like field, I think 19 over there, or 13 up here. The one that's currently limed and all white. So they'd be my two preferences, but I don't know whether it's better in the short term to get more land now and hopefully the extra profit can give us a good boost come fall, or I guess maybe next summer, because I guess we could plant late corn as well, but we'd have to have a look, see what crops are available, but we keep it corn or beans. And because of the I think the Benji FS maize textures, there's a huge difference between the ready to harvest corn and the stage before, so I'm tempted to say that we'll try to plant corn all in 1 month basically, or maybe do that with any crop in general, just plant it all in 1 month. Then that, in real life obviously it's a smooth transition as crops grow and dry out and get ready to harvest, but in game it's much starker, particularly in that final growth stage. So we'll try to do all our planting in the same month, in which case any new field we'll pick up will be in beans. And a rule that I think a lot of people play on anyway, but normally people kind of say only buy fields in winter, but what I take that mainly as is don't buy a field that someone else has planted, or I wouldn't like, some people just buy fields that are planted and then plough them in, which is fair enough, but that seems really wasteful to me. So I'll say ideally I'll only buy a field that is fallow basically, that's been just ploughed or cultivated and left without any cropping. And usually that time of year is winter when that happens, but it doesn't always have to be. So after we're done here, still not even midday, so we might take a look at land prices and just come up with a bit of a plan, maybe what to do for the year. But the trouble is I really don't know what kind of money we're going to get out of these crops, either in pigs or cash crops. Did miss a row there as well, but I'm going to learn to live with it, because it's more realistic. We just left a bit too wide a gap than going back over it. We'd have to basically turn off all of these hoppers other than one, and maybe that's possible, I really don't know. Never used a planter in real life. So that's our second headland all the way around. I think I will try a third. It seems almost wasteful because the field's so small, but just for experiment's sake we'll do a third here and just see whether that makes turning at the ends an awful lot easier or not. This planter's doing a good job actually of bouncing around, flexing, as the 71 Flex planter name suggests. It is certainly flexing, and I don't think we've had any dead spots where it's just skipped a bit, which I know is common in Farming Simulator. And I think Yeah, we did have problems before, but I think that was partly we're using the real 3-point link mod or something like that, that just really subtle and hard to tell, but it just adds a bit more movement and liveliness in the 3-point joints, basically. Adds some weight to the implement so it swings around from side to side, but I know a very early version of that was causing problems, like implements jumping around and missing big chunks, but I think they updated it quite quickly and got rid of that. And we've had no issues since, so I'll assume that's what was doing it, but it might even be helping over the base game, I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll crack on and get this field all done, see how we turn at the end. Ah, look at that. So we still have to come out in a fairly wide loop, but yeah, much better. So I'll see you all once we're done. Okay, so we finished off all of the feeding. I forgot, basically, we turned off recording and I forgot to put it back on again after getting some screenshots. But literally, I think it should have recorded up to the end of the row and we were done basically with that. So that's our planting over for the year, and we've just come down in the truck. Maintenance is all done on it, so we're taking it for a little spin to check everything's okay, down to this lower field which was direct planted, and you can see we've got weeds growing up here. So in the next episode we're going to get the white with the row crop cultivator and just come down here and go in between the rows, get all the weeds out, and that'll be good then. And other than that, we've sold the pigs. We've got food to sort out for the next lot until we sell them at the end of summer, I think, 6 months, so 4 months time from now, whenever that is. October, maybe? September, October, somewhere around then. September, I think. So we got that to do, carry on with the forestry, I guess. Pick up, maybe pick up some contracts now we've done all of our stuff, but we'll see you for the weeding, and then who knows, right? Cheers.